All right, so hey, the transfer portal opened up today. It's a busy week for Oklahoma fans, the coaches, and everything else because Oklahoma's now got to go not only continue to make roster space, knowing that your roster limitations of how many guys you can have on the team are coming, but you've also got to go out there and maybe reload. I've seen a lot of people go out there and say they need to rebuild. I don't like that word, especially for a program like Oklahoma and the blue blood that they are. Blue bloods don't rebuild. Blue bloods, they go out there, they retool, they find more talent to add currently what's in that room. And usually they don't have very many down years. You don't end up being like a Texas where you're mediocre for 10 years before you can finally get back to the top. So Oklahoma's got to go out there. They got to retool. That means they got to find talent in the transfer portal. Today, I want to talk about some of the guys that are leaving the program because since we talked last about this subject, there have been more portal additions from Oklahoma's side. But then I've reached out to a couple guys that are in the transfer portal. Some of them might be visiting Oklahoma. Some of them are interested in Oklahoma. I want to talk about that today, dive into who I think Oklahoma maybe should go out there and target just from my perspective and point of view. So jump in the comments, join the discussion. Let me know what you guys think the biggest portal need for Oklahoma is this cycle. And if you have a name of a player that you think Oklahoma should go pursue, jump that or put that down in the comments below as well. If you're new to the channel, wipe your feet, join the channel, hit that like, hit the subscribe button. But we're going to go ahead and we're just going to dive right into it today. And I think we got to start off with wide receiver because this was the position I felt like last year that Oklahoma probably sat in pretty prime position to be able to go out there and, be pretty dominant in, right? And, well, yeah, you lost Nick Anderson to the portal. I think a lot of people saw Jaquez Petaway hit the portal. And while some of these portal additions, they're not probably the most shocking to you and I, to some people, losing Nick Anderson is a big deal, which Nick Anderson is super talented. But who can Oklahoma go out there and get? I think this is what we got to start looking because he's gone. I don't think Nick Anderson is going to withdraw his name from the portal and stay at Oklahoma. But there was a name that came up in the Discord chat earlier. I reached out, and it's a name that's actually pretty intriguing, and that's going to be Reggie, and I believe it's pronounced Virgil or Virgil. 6'4", 190-pound wide receiver from Miami of Ohio. Now, I did reach out to Reggie here, and he did hear from the staff. He actually tweeted out that he got an offer. There is interest from Reggie's side to end up at the University of Oklahoma. Now, interesting also for a lot of Oklahoma fans to note here, if you saw him tag Jaden Gibson in his tweet, there is a reason for that. He is friends with Jaden Gibson from the same area. So 6'4", 190 pounds. This is a guy that had 116 yards for 9 touchdowns and 41 receptions at Miami. Now, again, I think a lot of people are going, okay, well, he's coming from G5 going to SEC play. If he comes to Oklahoma, how does that translate? Well, you had Caden Woolard. You felt like that worked out pretty well, but Reggie is a guy that with that size, that is what you need in the SEC, and he's going to work. He's going to fit, and you get him alongside a buddy like Jaden Gibson where you would have basically twin towers. That's probably a really good combination for Oklahoma. So Reggie's a name that if you're Oklahoma fans, you've got to be paying attention to. Overall, I would say he's probably a decent blocker, just kind of looking at some of his pass block and run blocking grades. This is a guy that, hey, I'm excited for if he ends up here at the University of Oklahoma. But another name, and we kind of talked about him last week. This is a guy that, this is a guy last week that we talked about that I was interested in, that I told you to keep your eyes on, and that's Trey Spivey. Trey Spivey is a freshman out of Kansas State, only 160 yards, but again, he's got that size, 6'4", and he would have multiple years at Oklahoma. I also think that's important to understand if you're looking at guys that Oklahoma could look at in the portal. They're going to want to potentially take guys that have multiple years of eligibility that could come in and make an impact for more than just the 1 year. So Trey Spivey is obviously a name that we're going to continue to watch, but the big one that hit the portal today from Georgia Tech was Eric Singleton Jr. Now, I saw y'all blowing this up in the Discord chat, which I went and saw this. Now, I have not talked to Eric Singleton yet, but I would imagine that this is somebody, based off what he's done production-wise, that Oklahoma and Emmett Jones are want to go out there and pursue. I mean, this season, 56 receptions, 754 yards, 3 touchdowns. You go look at what he did in 23, 714 touchdowns on 48 receptions and 6 touchdowns. Like, this is a guy that could come in at 5'11". He's a speedy wide receiver. He can make an impact for you right away. This is an SEC caliber wide receiver. So keep this name in the back of your head as well. And then we got to talk about tight end, because you saw Bauer Sharp enter the transfer portal. We're not going to bash the kid or anything like that, but I mean, obviously Oklahoma needed to upgrade that position. So you got Devon Mitchell there. You currently have Caden Helms. You have McIntyre. I think you're kind of wondering if you're able to retain those other 3 guys. I would imagine Oklahoma's probably going to have at least one more portal addition or, guy leave into the portal in that tight end room, at least one more. And this is the guy that when we all saw him enter the portal, everybody was like, yeah, we got to go out there and have this kid. And that's Tanner Kozoil. If you guys saw what he did, 6'7", 235-pound tight end. This past season, 94 receptions, 839 yards, 8 touchdowns. If you guys could see it here on PFF, like, this dude's got incredible blocking grades. This was one of the highest graded tight ends according to PFF in college football this past season. So Tanner is a guy that we have identified. Oklahoma is going to be in contact. They're going to try to go out there, but this is also a guy that if you're Oklahoma, you're going to have to go out there and you're going to have to, pay up. Like, you're going to have to go play the game that everybody else is playing. So kind of looking at some of the other positions that Oklahoma is going to have to go out there and fill. If you guys have been paying attention to the portal today, I think you guys have probably seen the likes of a Kenai Walker or a Jaden Rowe hit the transfer portal, right? And I think cornerback depth is going to be something where you're going to have to see Oklahoma potentially maybe make a move on a couple dudes, or maybe go out there and get one really good dude. I think we're still maybe expecting a couple more guys to enter the transfer portal. Does Gentry Williams go to the NFL draft this year? I think there's so many questions in this room that are still uncertain, especially with losing Des Malone. Obviously, you have really good anchors in Eli Bowen for the future. You have Jeremiah Newcomb, Devin Jordan. So you like what you have in that room, but you obviously want to go out there and get some more talent. So I actually reached out to a guy like Jalil Hurley. Now, if you're not familiar with who Jalil Hurley is, he is a quarterback transfer from the University of Alabama. He's a freshman. He's originally from Florence, Alabama. So I would imagine a team like Auburn is probably going to be in pursuit of a guy like Hurley. But this season, not a ton of production. 1 solo tackle, 1 total tackle. But Jalil Hurley was a guy that it sounds like he's interested in coming to Oklahoma if Oklahoma ends up reaching out and ends up trying to go and grab his services. So just keep that in mind in the back of your head for cornerback. Obviously, there's the O'Connor kid as well. I've seen his name thrown around. Don't know really too much about him, but I saw y'all talking about him as well. So kind of looking at guys that have left Oklahoma. You saw Garen Hatchett hit the portal. You saw Emeka Megwa is officially in there. You saw Joshua Bates is in the portal. Chapman McCown is in the portal. You saw Ty Kubicek into the portal. So Oklahoma's taken some losses, but remember, this was expected. None of the losses that we've seen yet are actually shocking to what we've already been told of who's going into the portal. So just kind of keep your eyes peeled, eyes open. It's going to be a busy week. Obviously, today is just kind of the initial phases. As teams finish their bowl games, you're going to potentially see more guys at the portal. When you look at quarterback prospects, one of the guys that we talked about during the coaching searches that Oklahoma could be interested in if they hit the portal was Darian Mensah. He's in the portal now. Now, obviously, it's not a Ben Arbuckle guy. His skill set's probably very similar to Michael Hawkins, so you'd probably just roll with Michael Hawkins at that point. But you're starting to see some big dominoes fall in the transfer portal when it comes to quarterback. So if Oklahoma wanted to go get a starter out of the portal, you could probably find one there. You saw predictions for Jackson Arnold to be with the Mississippi State Bulldogs and Jeff Levy. So that could be interesting to see if you want to know where Jackson Arnold's going to land. But I want to hear from y'all. Join the discussion. Jump in the comments below. Give me your thoughts on what you think about the transfer portal right now. Who you think Oklahoma could go out there and land. Who do you want Oklahoma to go out there and target? If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys hit that like and you hit that subscribe button.